Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green, and it's awesome to have you with me today. I just wanted to ask you, how are you? How did you sleep last night? Do you feel good? Are you worried about something? Is something overpowering you? In your emotions, any of those things, Father God. And I just thank you, Lord. I thank you for everything that you're doing. I thank you for everything that you're going to do. And we just ask God just to come in and just, Lord, just do something for the person on the other end of this telecast, Lord, this podcast. If somebody's hurting today, if somebody's in pain, I just want to really lift up a prayer for you because I believe that, this too shall pass in your life. So today is an awesome topic. I'm going to go ahead and invite my co-host. There
Yeah.
you go. Good morning, beautiful. How are you?
Well, good morning, beautiful. How are you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am well.
It's,
Thank you. I am well.
well, today is an awesome topic, one that I'm sure is going to help a lot of people really make some difficult decisions about their relationships.
Yeah.
Have to face truth, and sometimes truth
Yes.
is painful.
Most of the time it is, Naima. It is. It is something we struggle with. We struggle with truth. And
Yes.
because truth brings change. And that's a lot of times we want things to remain the same. And a lot of times
Yes.
we want things to change, but then we don't want to do what actually brings on the change. So, it's a
Right.
struggle. That's why I call it, it's a struggle. So today's
Yes.
topic is, of course, are you in a relationship that is dying? That is
Ooh.
dying. It is in the process of dying or dead, but
Mm.
you are
Mm.
still holding on.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
You are
Still
still
hanging on,
present in it.
even
And
though
in
it's
your mind, oh, something's going to change. Oh, it's going to get better. Oh, they didn't mean to talk to me that way. Oh, they don't mean to treat me this way. Oh, they don't do. You are justifying all of the damage, aren't you?
ooh, ooh,
You're
ooh.
justifying it. So you're giving yourself validation that it is something that you need to stay in, even when you know in your gut that this is not the place you're supposed to be, not the person you're supposed to be with. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's examine that a little more. What causes? What causes? Why would a person hold on to something that they know is dysfunctional? Hmm.
Hope.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to examine that a little closer today. And I hope for the hearing ears, the watching, on Facebook, YouTube, I hope that you value yourself enough to re-examine your life. There's no such thing as that I'm stuck and I can't get out. The only reason we would get stuck in something is because we fail to allow ourselves to be free
Mm.
because we feel we need to be there. This is all I got. I don't know what else. Ain't nobody else gonna love me. Like, I don't know. Okay, here we go again with those explanations, those excuses, and those validations.
Fear.
Until one learns the value, you have value in your life. You are important. And God made you individually. If you look at your thumbprint, no one else in the world has your thumbprint. So that must make you a very unique person.
Mm. You know what I've
uh,
seen?
I want to, okay, go ahead.
I've seen people hold on to relationships out of fear that there's no one else available. It's like, well, there's no one else out here, and if I let go of this, I'll be alone. And for whatever reason, there's a fear of being alone, as if that's the worst thing in the world. not having someone to validate your worth. So what is that? Why are people afraid to be alone, or afraid that they don't have value if they don't have a mate?
Well, loneliness is, most people think it's a feeling, but it's an action.
Mm,
It's an action, which is when we get, you can be alone in a room full of people,
mm,
you know? So it's an action that leads to a thought process. And most people are codependent, Naima. They are, I need to be needed. I need to be accepted. I need to feel belong. And I mean, normally you have a balance in that, okay? But then some individuals, according to their upbringing, they become overly needy.
mhm.
So what they would do is they will find themselves in a place, manipulators or abusers, because they feel that this is all they have in their scope of life. Again, we go back to the value system. The value system of an individual, human life, is worth more than any precious jewel or all the gold and silver in the land. But if that person does not feel or think that they are valuable, they would allow themselves to stay in any relationship, whether it's heterosexual, dealing with family, dealing with workplace issues. It doesn't matter, because everywhere we go, we have relationships.
Mhm.
Everywhere we go, you build relationships. You can build relationships in a grocery store by meeting a stranger. It
Yeah.
may be a moment relationship, but guess what? It's still social interaction. Anytime we socially interact with anyone, be it 1 second or years, it's a relationship. So
Yeah.
the question is, again, what is your value system? And you have to put value on your life. Otherwise, you will always find yourself accepting and tolerating something that is not worthy of you.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So those ideals that we think, oh, I don't know who I am. I don't love myself. Okay, if those identities right there are not solid, if you don't know, if you have no exploration of who you are, then you're going to accept anything that comes in your life.
Yes.
And then you find yourself in a pivotal area. I call it rock back and forth. Do they love me or do they not love me? Do they love me or do they not love me? Why are they doing this to me? Okay, here we go. We go back into that victimized state. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you hurting me? Okay, but guess what? Before you met this person, they were already doing that. And
Mm.
please understand, I'm not just talking about a man and a woman, or a woman and a man, or woman and woman, or whatever the case. I'm not talking about monogamous relationships, not just that. We also have breakdown communications between our mothers and our daughters, our fathers and our
Yes.
sons.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So things become so dysfunctional. And then we get estranged. I despise that word.
It's strange.
Estranged. That means one person is not. Estranged. Yeah, you're not talking to me anymore. You done ghost me, as one would say.
Mm.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm not worthy for you to even talk to me. Now I can either do one or two things with that situation. I can feel like your victim, or I can say, okay, and accept it for what it is,
Yes.
and put you in a time frame management. I call them time management.
Mm.
However long time you take is up to you, because it ain't my time. It's your time. See, in any relationship, we have to understand that we got to live inside and not outside. And you say, well, wait a
Ah.
minute, Dr. Dan, what does that mean? You got to live inside yourself, because if you live outside yourself, you're going to always be needing something on the outside of you that's not there.
Mm.
I'm so sorry. You will feel invisible after a period of time. Someone at some given rate will give you a what they call an example of a relationship. You may meet, you may meet, well, let's say you first meet the representative.
Yes.
You don't meet the original person.
You meet who
You
they
meet the
put forth.
representative. So now
Yeah.
you're introduced to the representative,
Yes.
right? Right. And it, again, any relationship, you're gonna meet the representative. But if you
Right.
stay there for a little while, and it don't take long. Let me tell you something. You can see the full scope of a human being in less than 30 days.
Mm.
But mind you,
It's-
you got to be paying attention.
yeah. And
If
believe
you ain't
what you
paying
see.
attention, you get caught up. Oh, I love them. Yes. Oh, I love them. They're so good to me. They're this, they're that. Because all you done got caught up in the doings. You ain't
Yes.
even seen the person yet. But wait a minute. Hold on a second. When you start, you say, wait a minute. Okay, because there's so many manipulators out there. Because remember, it's the great deception. People
Mm.
are constantly manipulating and trying to change other people to what they want them to be.
Mhm.
So some people are easily and pliable, just like putty. And then
Mm.
some people are like, I call it like clay on a potter's wheel. You got to mold them and you got to do this because they're constantly moving. You see what I'm saying? And then some of them are like hard rocks. You got to chip at them, right? So
Mm.
I don't know what type of relationship that you may be in, but if your relationship is not healthy, let me tell you what a unhealthy relationship is. Because my question still is, are you in a relationship that's dying? Okay, unhealthy relationship. First thing that's going to be broken down is trust.
Wow.
If I can't trust you, now mind you, now I don't need to be paranoid because sometimes people get paranoid very easily, right? Trust every one of these things I'm saying has to have a balance because if they're not balanced, they can't be all up and halfway down. They got to be balanced between two individuals. We call it mutual standing, a mutual standing relationship. I trust you, you trust me. Guess what? When we first meet each other, guess what? Neither one of us really trusts each other.
Right.
Some people are very needy, so their trust level is already imbalanced. And then some people like, I don't know what you want from me. They back off. Their trust is imbalanced. Meet the person and allow them to show you their original self.
Mhm.
Again, it takes less than 30 days for you to see the original self. But be the observant and not the participant.
Mhm.
And you say, wait a minute, Dr. Deb, you telling me I need to study a person? Yes. Especially a man or a woman, it does not matter who are still dating and still single, okay? Or if you're in a relationship that has time to it and you already see the evidence, you just don't want to believe the evidence. You can't get angry at the person that's doing it. The old saying, I see you once, shame on me, on you. But no, if I see
You
you, if
see
I
me once,
catch you
shame on me,
once,
fool me twice,
shame on
shame.
you. But if I catch you twice, shame on me.
So now I've had an associate that
So the overall goal is to observe.
yeah. Yeah, I when you speak of trust,
Yeah, you're
I've had an
interrupted.
associate.
Your screen is interrupted. Can you hear me?
Is it? Oh, yes, it might be. I might need to go out and come back in. Yeah, let me go out and come back in.
Yeah, it's just a little choppy. There you go. She'll be right back in a minute. She was about to tell me about one of her friends. But what I'm saying is, your worth is everything. Please understand the worst thing that you could ever be in a relationship and you don't value yourself in that relationship. Because what's going to happen is you're going to start compromising with things that you know you don't want, things that you know that's not worthy of you. You will say yes to the things that are going to make you miserable. And before you realize it, you have adapted to a dysfunction. This is how domestic violence becomes real. This is how broken relationship causes depression and mental illness because people get sick because of their relationships. I've seen it firsthand. Again, they start to build this anger from the inside out, and their ego processes are all over the place. And they tell themselves, I'm supposed to be here. I'm trying to save this person. I'm supposed to be here. I'm trying to help this person. That's the only way. They need me. Mm-mm.
Is that better now?
I think so. Say something.
Okay. Yeah, am I breaking up or am I better now? Does it sound better now? Hopefully so.
It seems like it's a little delayed, but
Ah,
I can hear you. It's just that
a little delayed.
yeah, I can see you. It's just that you're not right. Just a little delayed.
Oh,
Just a
okay.
little delayed. But hopefully
Make
yeah,
sure I have all my other
hopefully
windows. All right.
mm, okay.
So hopefully that's a little better.
Yeah, it seems like it's better now. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
I was telling our viewers and listeners that um, they have to understand their value when in relationship. Otherwise, they will compromise for something that they really don't want. It's very easy to compromise because we often feel that, oh, if I love this person, I'm supposed to put up with the person because I love them. And when they expect me to put up with them because they want me to love them in their dysfunction,
Mm,
people will try to control another human being very easily. Again, it's called manipulation. So I want to, like I said, go back to the factors of what an unhealthy relationship is. Trust is the first thing that fails. The next thing that fails is communication, because without trust, I cannot communicate effectively with you because I was shut down.
yes.
I may even only tell you what I think you want to hear, but then
Mm,
it's still not truth.
right.
I will operate in a lie. I will operate in a lie, and a lie is operating in fear. False evidence appearing real. Who has to
Mhm.
fear? They do. Whoever is operating in the lie. And you sometimes you have two people that are operating in lies. That means they're both telling the untruth, living the untruth, and expecting it to get any better. Now we call those cohab relationships. I'm
Mm,
only in this relationship because of something I don't want to lose, be it
mm,
money, houses, land, insurance policies, cars, children, you call it. I'm just cohabiting, right? So
mm. I've
now,
seen, yeah.
in my mind, you seen cohab relationships before? Yeah, we call
Yes,
it relationships of convenience.
right. I need this person to help pay the bills, but I'm really in a relationship with someone else. And but if I leave this relationship, then my finances will be a lot more difficult to manage. So therefore, I'll just, you know, like you said, tell this person what I want them to believe or what I want them to hear. In the meantime, I'm going to live my social life with other people outside of the home, and everybody's happy because nobody knows anything. And the person who are involved in the outside relationship, well, if I never bring them
Yeah.
to my home, then they're not aware that I'm actually living with someone. So, it works out. But but like you say, there's a certain amount of
Right.
deception because you have to kind of live a double life, and at some point, one at some point, the deception
Yes.
is exposed, and then you have to figure out, how do I explain it, or how do I minimize it, or how do I get this person to believe, okay, well, I that was something that I did, but I'm really not involved in that anymore, so that they can maintain the convenient relationship. Yeah, I've seen that often on both sides, both male and female, doing it, because it comes
Exactly.
down to
And
uh, the convenience, like you
hmm
say, uh, because it's hard to afford an apartment by yourself, and so you can get involved in a relationship and you cohabitate, but then the relationship is really kind of over, but you still need their money to maintain your living environment. So
lifestyle.
yeah, your
Lifestyle.
lifestyle, and the
Hmm.
fear that you can't do it alone makes
Yes.
you stay in that situation, even if it's not where you want to be for your life. So it
Right.
really kind of keeps
Right.
a person not moving
And
ahead
there's
at all, because you can't really
right.
plan a future
Yes.
in that situation.
Right. Exactly. And the overall thing is that there's an emotional, disconnection. When you have no emotional connection at all, then a person just goes and does what they want to do. They don't care about what you feel. They don't care about what you think. And they are what they call emotionalists. Emotionalists. So the other person on the other end that's receiving all of this energy is either going to do one or two things. They're going to either feel like the victim, or they're going to say, okay, it is what it is, and move on. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, there's no gray shaded area right there, because how can I create something that's not there? How can I heal something that does not want to be healed?
Mhm.
I don't have any, there's no, what, like you said, when the spark is gone, it's gone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, these are unhealthy relationships that people, they find themselves staying in it, and they get weaker and weaker, whether they realize it or not, and they cause a lot of damage and hurt. Um, at some given point, things have to change. So with that communication breakdown that I was actually talking about is, where's the signs of communication breakdown? One is that when they start texting you and not answering phone calls.
Wow.
When
Wow.
they start texting you and not answering phone calls, that's the first signs of communication. And you may ask them when you do talk to them, I called you. Why you call me? Oh, I was busy at the time. Or I was
Mm.
on the phone. They'll give you an excuse. But I text you 30 minutes later, an hour
Mm.
later.
Mm.
So communication breakdown is a very one of those things that usually starts the argument.
Mhm.
Why you ignoring me? You know, I'm not worthy. I'm not important to you anymore. Because when you feel ignored, it triggers something in a human being. No one
Yeah.
wants to feel ignored. No one wants to feel like they're not worth anything. So
Right.
usually right then is when the hurt really starts to be real.
Mhm.
The person is being hurt is either going to get very angry or vengeful.
Mm.
They can get vengeful right there by going far and beyond. If they're not too balanced in the first place. You better look for somebody about to stalk you, wanting to know and try to get into your phone. You know, anything can happen at that point because when communication breaks down, the trust's already gone. So the emotion is no connection. So now you cutting me off. Oh, one time you used to talk to me, but now you cutting me off.
Mm.
So next thing happens is this thing called aggression or confrontation with communication. Now this is the time that I hope that most people step out of it before it gets to this level.
Mm. Great,
Before it
great.
gets to this level, I hope that most people step out of it. Yeah, just leave it alone. Just move on. There's too many people in the world for you to be stuck on one person. I don't care what they did for you or how you were living. Move on. Find a way to get out of that area. Because that's the flip side. When you stop communicating, then you want to fight. You fight
Yeah.
verbally at first, hurting your emotions, and then sometimes it gets physical when it becomes aggressive.
So what happens when people get
And
stuck
then you
in,
don't play fair. You start destroying things.
yeah. What happens when people get stuck in that phase where
I
their
didn't hear you,
relationship,
blanked out.
what happens when people are stuck at that phase in their relationship where they're always fighting? That is the relationship at that point where there's, confrontation, argument,
It's over.
aggressiveness, and that's just where it is. How long does a person stay in that phase before they
It's
realize this
over.
is over?
I
Mm,
don't know. I mean, it can last for a long period of time because the parties do not want to exit. One wants to, especially if assets are involved. No, you leave.
mm,
I'm not leaving. You leave.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? When assets are involved, children, uh, houses, homes, money, you leave. I'm not leaving. This is way before divorce gets there. You see what I'm
mm.
saying? Then it's a separation in the house. It's not even outside. It's a separation in the house. So now you living with the enemy.
Wow.
You living with the enemy. That person thinks that you're the enemy and you think they're the enemy. So what's happening? Nothing but minimize validation. No one's validating anyone. Is total disagreement. You getting what they call a cold shoulder.
Mm,
Nobody's talking to you. They're treating you like you invisible, and you're hurting. You're angry, but you're hurt. And some people say, "Oh, I don't care." Yes, you do. Yes, you care. Because if you ever loved that person and it turned out like this, you're gonna care. It's gonna frustrate you in some type of way.
mm.
You're gonna get frustrated.
Yes.
You're
And
gonna
I
get
guess,
irritated if you're sleeping in separate quarters and you
yeah.
just bypass each other in the kitchen when the kids come. If you got children, the kids come sit to the table eating cereal in the morning and y'all treating each other like strangers and think the kids don't know. They know.
Ooh, they
You
feel
can't
it.
hide
They
nothing from children. Let me just get that out there right
feel
now.
it. Yes.
Children are very, very observant. Just because they don't say anything, and some of them will be bold and they'll ask you, "Mommy and
What's
Daddy, y'all fighting?" Because they
yeah,
already know.
no, they
You know,
know.
we try
There's
to
a
hide.
silent.
I think the worst thing, yeah, the worst thing they could do when people say that, "Oh, I'm in this relationship because of the children." No, you're not. You in a relationship because you want to be there. Let's keep it
Right. The
real.
children don't
You
want
want to
that.
be there. You make an excuse. You
Mm,
allowing your children to suffer. You allowing the children to suffer because of your actions. You and your partner, your husband, your wife, whoever, and thinking that it's okay. No, it's not. Do you
Mm,
not know what damaged relationships do to children?
wow.
Do you not
But
know some children even blame themselves because their parents are
yeah,
not getting along?
they think it's their fault. They think it's their
They
fault.
blame themselves. They
Yeah.
soak up all that energy.
Yes.
You got to take a break.
Yeah, we gotta take a break. We got some callers on the
Mhm.
line,
We'll
and
come back and I'm gonna talk a little more about that.
yes,
Yes,
yes, we'll
because
be
it's
right
time
back.
for this to drown out a little bit.
Yes, yes, and some of you all, your New Year's resolution needs to be to leave, but you need the courage to go. So we'll be right back after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. So stay with us. We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green with my wonderful co host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of The Female Solution. And if you're just joining us, our topic today is: are you in a relationship that is dying?
Yeah, I got a quick
I'm
question.
sorry. What
I got a
you want to
question.
take the caller?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to
I'll
ask a
take
question?
yeah. Yeah, well, I'll take the caller and then I'll ask the
Which one?
question. Area code 312-882. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Dr. Debbie Green regarding relationships.
Well, in your shalom, assalamu alaikum, and grand rising to you, Green.
Yes.
Robert Flores Club.
Yes. So
I
tell
am
us
in
about your
trouble.
relationship.
I am in trouble. Yeah, it's a business relationship. It's not a husband and wife relationship. It's a business relationship concerning my uh, phone, which is a phone that I've had for over 20 years, and with Booth, and it's to me, now it's evolved into a legal matter because they're trying to steal my phone. And then also, it's a business consultant partner, really a relationship concerning my internet. I had I had 4 internets down. I'm definitely gonna need your number, Dr. Debbie
Yeah,
Green.
I don't know if she can help you with boosts and stuff. But we thank you for calling, Minister Plum. We definitely thank you for calling. But usually when you have
I'm
a
so
relationship,
sorry. I can only deal with
business,
people.
yes, the emotional ties between people. Usually, a business relationship is very non-emotional and non-personal. Sometimes you don't even talk to a live person. You get a bunch of machines. So it's kind of hard to fix things with that kind of non-human contact. But we appreciate your call. Definitely, yes. So one of the things that I look at with relationships that people stay in for a long time. I had an associate that stayed in a relationship, because she felt like we made marriage vows, and your vow or promise to God, you're better or worse, and it was in the stage of worse. But her religious belief was that you stay no matter how bad it gets, because that's how she was raised, it's how her mother was raised, it's how her mother was raised. So the whole idea of no matter how bad it is, you just stay there, that was part of her upbringing. And so for decades and decades, she just stayed. Children grew up in a household, parents strife, uh, father, other relationships outside the home, and but the conditioning was, we're married, I took a vow, so I just stay. Even if you're nasty to me, even if you're physically hurting me, I made a vow. Could you speak to that kind of conditioning? Because I think there are a lot of people who believe that it is spiritually correct, if they have made a vow of marriage, to stay in a situation no matter how bad it gets. And it might have been dead, rigor mortis set in, body in the coffin. I mean, as far as the deadness of that relationship, but they believe that the spiritually correct thing to do is to stay. Could you shed some light on that thought a bit?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we do know that God wants us to be abundantly happy. Okay, number one. Number two is that He is very focused on family. Okay, which is He wants us to respect each other. Um, in some type of biblical sense that most people believe in religiosity, I'll say it this way, that a person that's in a relationship that is unhealthy must stay in that relationship. Now, this is conflicting, okay? It's conflicting for two reasons. God wants you to be happy and abundantly happy. So if you're in a relationship that may be abusive, verbally, emotionally, or just in infidelity, but all the unhealthy actions, I don't think, from my perspective, that He would want you to stay in that relationship when you know it's unhealthy for you. So there is, again, the perception of marriage when it comes to God is that they believe, and I'm saying they, which means people who are, that practice a religion or moral understanding. No matter what happens, I'm supposed to stay in this relationship, even when you're abusing me, even when you're putting me down, even when you are trying to belittle me in some way. are trying to break me down as a person. I don't agree with that. No, ma'am.
Mm.
And I mean, I am a pastor, okay, has been since 2014. And I would not tell another human being if I know they are being, without a shadow of doubt, they are being abused, to stay in a relationship, in a marriage, when I know they're being abused. And when the children are being abused, because that's not healthy. And I really don't think at all God will want those two human beings to be together when it's already been destroyed and is no longer sacred.
Mm.
It's no longer sacred
So how does a
at all.
person how does a person deprogram themselves from those feelings? Because I've known people that the tremendous guilt over being divorced, shame. You even have some churches that'll say, well, if you've been divorced, you can't hold a position in the church, or you can't be a pastor, or whatever the case may be, because it's like you failed God, or you didn't live up to your vow. So there's even punitive kinds of actions even among religious circles, because people make a choice to leave a hurtful relationship. They make a decision to end a marriage that's abusive, and yet there's still, in some religious communities, a condemnation of the person who made that choice. How do we undo
Again, it's
that
only, well, again, this is a belief system, Naima. They believe that. So, which means that that person, whoever's in that relationship, has a belief system that their leadership in church should lead their life. That's what they
mm,
believe. You see what I'm
mm,
saying? So, truth be told, God created freedom. All right, we are free agents in this
we
world.
will. Yes,
We
yes.
are free will. So if you allow your free will to be interrupted because of what someone says,
Mm,
then that's an issue. They can take the word of God and twist it around all they want to, but again, the truth is going to be the same. If I am truly unhappy where I am not going to allow myself to be abused, to stay in this relationship because pastor or apostle or reverend so and so saying that, oh, if you got a divorce, you can't be in the church anymore. Okay, well, who's judging who is the
mm,
question.
mhm.
Who's judging who? God doesn't look at me as any different a person, whether I'm with this person or not, because he loves me unconditionally. So the question is, why can't man do the same?
Mm.
So that person that has that process that you are referring to should ask themselves, who are you living for? Are you living for yourself? Or are you living for other people?
Wow.
Because that's the question. Again, remember I told you earlier, I said people live on the outside of themselves, but don't realize they're really supposed to be living on the inside. When
Yes.
you live on the outside, you're going to always live for what someone else is saying, for what somebody else expects of you, what else somebody wants you to do, how you want to do it, how long you want to do it, when to stop, when to go. Well, then who you living for? You ain't living for yourself. Who are you living for? You're living for what's outside of you. And that's how you lose power. That's how you
Yes.
lose power. You lose power because you're living outside of yourself, externally. Internally, you will then ask the question, is this healthy for me or is it not, and make the decision based upon that answer. If it's unhealthy, if I stay in an unhealthy environment, I am going to be unhealthy. Leads to mental illness, medical conditions, chronic illness, because guess what? You're going to start dying in some
Ooh,
capacity
ooh.
because you're miserable. The
Yes.
being from the top of your head to the soles of your feet cannot thrive in unhealthy environments. It cannot. It may take a
Right.
while before you start deteriorating, but trust me, it's going to happen. It's statistical. You know, it's statistical. It is real. Stress kills. It
Yes.
takes away life. And that's a very stressful life to be in a place where you know you are unhappy. So every day you have to walk around on eggshells. You got to pretend like everything is okay when you know it's not. You stuff your
Mm,
feelings. You don't talk about it. You act like everything is okay, almost to that you are you're robotic. You're robotic.
mm,
You're no longer human anymore. Your human factor is gone because you feel empty, unloved, unnurtured.
mm-hmm.
It's just a very unhealthy environment. And I don't think anyone, I don't care whether you're a Christian, you're Buddhist, you're Judas, it don't matter, should stay in
Yeah.
any relationship that's unhealthy and that's dying. It's just unnatural. And God would not want you to suffer. Who accepts suffering unnecessarily?
Mm.
Where is that written down? I have to suffer unnecessarily.
So that's part of the belief
It's not
system
in
that
the
you're
Bible.
supposed to suffer.
The fruit is part of the belief system.
Mm.
There is the fruits of the spirit is one of the fruits of the spirit is long suffering, but not unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Some suffering is unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's called
Self and
learned behavior.
yes.
Okay. Yes, self-induced. I am suffering because I believe that I'm supposed to be here to save somebody, to be there for somebody, and waiting for what to happen. What you waiting for? What are you waiting for? This is a new
Yeah.
year that's coming in. Why are you still there? You've been there for umpteen years. Ain't nothing changed. It just seems like it's staying stuck in one position. Okay,
Mm.
I want to finish my areas. When intimacy, when you no longer have a connection intimately, the
Mm.
relationship is over.
Wow.
If I can't stand you to touch me, I don't want to lay next to you, relationship is over.
Mm. In separate rooms,
We
separate
go back to
beds.
cohabiting. Yeah, we go back to cohabiting because now we roommates. No, we're not significant others. Oh, when the kids come around, when we go to family gatherings, oh yeah, we'll put it on. But people know too. You can't hide from people because they know too. They don't say
Yeah.
anything, but they know something is wrong. So that intimacy is then diminished, is then diminished. And the
Mm.
next one is fantasizing. What would it be with someone else?
Mm.
You might have met a friend or be a stranger or someone that looks like they want to treat you. Because see, you yearning so bad for love because you've been in an uncomfortable position, so you're so vulnerable and open. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're so vulnerable and open. So anyone that smiles at you, that gives you a just, oh, you look nice today, you just yield to that because you wasn't getting that. You're not getting that at home
Mm-hmm.
because you're being ignored because you are invisible.
Mm.
So you yield into that. So then you start fantasizing and don't let them ask for your number. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
You wouldn't even know how to answer that. I don't, I'm not sure. And you have some of them say, yes, let me give you your number.
Yeah.
And they go that
Because
direction before you realize that you've had a relationship outside.
yeah. Because I mean, you got your own personal cell number. It's not like they're gonna
Yeah,
call at
this
your
is
house
how it
by
happens.
yourself. So it's a lot easier to have an outside relationship.
Right?
Yeah. So how about when a person?
And again, if the person that you're involved with wants to do some investigating, that's what they do. They go and look in your phone, then they find out that you're talking to someone, and don't let the person that finds out be a narcissist, and it's all over. You'll never get the last of that.
So now, what about this? because someone asked me about this recently. Their their spouse would get a call and then go into the other room and shut the door. And the spouse would say, "Oh, this is just a business call." But the suspicions were raised when every time they go in the room and shut the door so that they couldn't be heard, and their spouse was thinking, well, okay, well, if this is just a business call, how come I can't hear it, or how come it's so secretive? It. So that began to raise suspicions. Is that a sign? Perhaps there's something else happening when someone makes sure that you don't hear their phone calls, or this person just being overly suspicious?
Uh, I think that's possibly a sign. I'm not saying in all incidents, but it can be when a person is always going in private corridors and not wanting to talk in front of you.
Mm,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. You may want to definitely, I don't want you to get paranoid, but you may want to definitely think about that. And because 9 out of 10, if you ask them who it is, they're not going to tell you the truth.
Mm,
You're not going to get the truth.
mm-hmm.
And of course, this bothers you because this person's not being honest. And
Mm,
it affects the trust, the communication. But, like I said, most people don't realize that a relationship is over. They're just in it until
yeah.
something really happens that is very uncomfortable.
Mm,
Unfortunately, extremes are only the time that people remove themselves. When something gets very uncomfortable, that's when they remove themselves. They don't remove themselves at the time of convenience,
mm,
you know, unless they do one of those overhauls. And I call it overhaul. It's like, oh, when a man comes home, or the woman comes home, it doesn't matter, and all the clothes and everything, all the furniture is gone. They just exit
oh,
because they've been
I've seen
planning
that.
that.
Mm, I've seen that.
Now they can do the overhaul right there, but they take a real strong chance that that person is imbalanced, and that
Oh,
person will hunt them down and may hurt them. Some people
yes.
do that, and then some people say, heck with it and go on with their life. But you don't know how bad a person is until you do something that is detrimental to them. you, know? You do something
So,
that they don't like, they're going to let you know.
so what would make a person choose to exit in that manner as opposed to just openly saying, "Well, look, this relationship is over. I'm going to just move out and get my own place." What would make a person just not be able to openly leave? Would it be a fear uh, of violent reaction or something?
It's a couple of things: fear of violent reaction, or just being vindictive.
Oh.
Just being vindictive, just wanting to hurt that person.
Mm,
Yeah. It's just like the same thing. If you remember, the angry woman that goes in the closet and tears up Ardaman, tears up
mm,
the clothing, sets
yeah,
fire to him, or whatever the case may be. Things like that.
it's vindictive. So
Yeah.
in in
Because
situations,
you're not in. Yeah, because you're not getting what you want, so you figure you'll just destroy something.
mm. So now I've seen in situations perhaps there was a discovery of infidelity, and rather than the people just being able to talk about it and say, "Well, obviously you're not exclusively committed to this relationship, so it's over. So I'll leave, or you leave, or whatever," as opposed to them to being able to rationally discuss it, there is extreme emotion and feelings of vengeance. How dare you do this to me? I'm going to get vengeance and, tear up your car, smash your windows out. why are people feeling like they must cause pain to someone, or that they have a right to cause pain to someone was uh, who stepped outside the relationship, and maybe for a while they realized that person had been in another relationship and they felt deceived. What is it that keeps us from being able to react rationally? What is it that creates the rage where you feel like, I must cause pain because they disappointed me, therefore I'm going to destroy something, I'm going to burn up their clothes, I'm going to break out the windows in their car? What is that causes that? Is that emotional immaturity or what?
Rage.
Mm.
Rage. We go through levels of in relationship, we go to levels of anger. We get irritated, frustrated, agitated. Now we're angry. And all of
Mm.
those things I told you earlier, lack of trust, breakdown in emotions, lack of intimacy, lack of communication, all of those things add to these areas. And what happens if the person or the persons are imbalanced from the beginning, if they have an imbalance, which means that they're not logical, reasonable, or rational thinkers, they're more emotional or impulsive, then they go into these areas of impulsivity, and that's an impulsive move to tear something down. It's called it's called an adult tantrum. Okay, think about a child that has a tantrum. It falls out on the
Mhm.
floor, it throws things, it tears things up. Okay, people have adult tantrums too, because they're not
Mm.
able to deal with their own emotions, and they think
Mm.
again, oh, you're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do something to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? Like tear
Mm.
up your clothes, knocking your windows out your car, or whatever the case may be. I just want to do something to hurt you. So that's
Mm.
where the rage comes in at. So again, I hope before we even get to those levels, we leave the relationship, because now the relationship is damaged.
Yeah.
It's damaged, and you're not going to get any. You're not going to get no closure. You're not going to get no nothing. You may get pleasure, and you think you're getting pleasure from trying to hurt someone. No, you're gonna get a jail time, because if you're
Mm.
tearing someone else's property up, if they call the police, you're gonna go to jail.
That is
If you are
vandalism.
trying to shoot at somebody, hurt somebody, you're going to jail. It's like, okay, now you out of control. You are out of control. You allowed the relationship to fester to the point where you out of control. And you can't
Mm.
blame it on the other person.
Mm.
It's time for you to step away. When it gets to that level, go away, find yourself a place of peace and gain your life back, because apparently you lost yourself
Mm.
in that relationship.
Wow. Wow. Well, we got to take another break. And if you're on our switchboard and have a question, press one. If you're listening online and want to join the conversation, I got a question for Dr. Debbie Green. Is your relationship dead or dying? Has it been long dead and you're still staying there? Give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press one so we know you have a question or comment for Dr. Debbie Green. And if you're watching on Soulful Solutions on Facebook or YouTube, write in your comments and we'll share them with our listening and viewing audience. And maybe you'll get an answer that can help you make a decision. We'll be right back after this quick break, so stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment, so stay with us.
Have you ever dreamed of going to exotic places, meeting fascinating people, enjoying uplifting music, and spending nights in a luxurious hotel?
Oh,
Do you look forward to a relaxing vacation where you can walk along the beach or sit in a quiet park and enjoy the sunset or sunrise? Whether you're flying around the world or driving across the country, we will share travel tips that will help you stay safe while you enjoy the journey. Join me every third Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and move around and press 1 to speak. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Zelda Speaks for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit DeltaSpeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress release coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moment tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark.
Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green with my wonderful co-host Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solution. Again, if you're just joining us, we are talking about, are you in a relationship that's dying? Or is it damaged to the point where there's no return? And the most important question, why are you still there? What are you holding on to? What is your justification? What's your validation? Are you looking for something to change? How long has it been? 2 years, 5 years, 20 years? How long has it been? And nothing has changed.
What is a reasonable amount of time? Because I mean, there are people who say, well, we have some rough spots in our relationship, but I'm going to stick it out. So what is a reasonable amount of time if things are in that state that you've mentioned, the absence of intimacy, non-communication, you're arguing a lot, and yet there's a belief that there's still love there.
Mm-hmm.
How long should a person weather the storm, so to speak, before they finally decide, okay, this is dead, I need to move on? Is there a length of time?
I believe it is. If you're dealing with a meet and greet stage, which means if you're single and still dating and you meet this person, and within the first 2 weeks, if y'all have a disagreement, like more, I would say if you have 3, that's red flags. 3 disagreements based upon commonality or differences or whatever. But what I'm saying, you have some people that have these arguments or disagreements, let me say it like that, and they talk them out and get some understanding, because you're still getting to know this person. All right, so that's one time. So let's say you again get into another disagreement and they misunderstood you and they may felt like you were victimizing them, or they tried to victimize you or whatever. Okay, that's the second time. So we're looking at some red flags, right? Some red flags. Now, if they're telling you things also that they are not doing, like they say, oh, I'm going to do this, but it never happens. Like their
Mm.
words don't match their actions. That's another red flag. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm.
these are the things a lot of times it happens at the beginning stages of a relationship. The first 30 days is your most vital time in a new relationship. Now, that's a new relationship. So within that first 30 days, if you see these red flags so often, you're like, oh, this is too much, then that's probably that's your way. Then you need to go ahead and exit and just let them know, thank you so much. I don't think this is going to work.
Mm.
You may ghost them. Most people ghost people. They don't tell them anything. They just disappear. Stop answering phone calls, block them, or whatever the case may be. You know,
Mm.
they do that. Yeah, most people ghost people. So when they
Mm.
ghost them like that, then they go on. Now, of course, if you're dealing with a person that's not balanced, if they
Mm.
ever find out where you live, they may come knock at your door, and
Mm.
things can get a little sticky. So
Mhm.
that's why you want to Google people. And now you say, what you mean Google them? No, put their name inside the internet and Google
It
them and
comes
see if
up.
they have any priors.
Yeah. People always put all their
And
business
I
on
don't
the internet.
understand. Yeah, but it's public. If this person had a murder conviction or assault
Mm.
and battery or
Mhm.
whatever, if they ever got arrested, it's going to come up. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying to judge those persons, but I'm just letting you know, you want to know what you're getting
Yes.
involved with. Just
Yeah.
recently, there was a situation where this woman was dating this man for 2 years, and
Mhm.
he had murdered someone. He came out of prison, murdered somebody, came out of prison and murdered someone. But he went to prison for murdering somebody. You
Wow.
understand what I'm saying? And she was involved with him, and she lost her life. Now, I'm
Mm.
not sure if she knew prior that this man was a murderer or
Mm.
not. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying once a murderer, always a murderer, but hey, I'm not taking any chances. I don't know about you. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think a person's history should be noted when they have a history of that intent. Assault and
Yeah.
battery, noted.
Yeah.
Noted. You see what I'm saying? Mm-mm. No, don't put yourself in that position. Oh no, John doesn't change. Even though he killed his no, no. When a
He
person
can't
takes
kill the
another
saints,
person's
but
life,
it's
that
their
person
fault.
is totally different.
Mm.
It's a different person altogether. Do you know what kind? Do you know how much? Oh my goodness, emptiness you have to kill someone? And I'm not saying it was if it's in self-defense. I'm just saying you know, it
Find
happens. Some people will
find
do
out the
that.
details. Get a second opinion of what really happened. Something. I don't know. That's definitely a red flag. If someone has taken someone's life, done 30 years in prison, whatever the case may be, and they
Yes,
might
that is a
they
red
might say, well,
flag.
I was transformed, I found the Lord. Well, you can ask God yourself, okay, did he find you or is he faking? I mean, you
Okay,
can you really want to know. You can find that out.
and we can
Uh,
be friends. I'm not. Hey, it's okay. But I'm observing. I just don't allow myself just to. And I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm talking about people. We don't
mhm,
just allow people in our lives anymore, especially these days and times. Be careful who you get involved with. But if you're in
yeah,
a relationship that's been in there for 5 years and you see the relationship dwindling, you
mhm,
really do not need to stop participating and start observing so you can really see the whole truth. Because when you
mhm,
participate, which means that if you're still in the mindset of, oh, this is a happy marriage, but then they stop communicating with me,
mhm.
you know, they're not sleeping next to me. Lately here, they've been sleeping in the other room downstairs on the
mm,
couch,
mm.
and they're not communicating with me. Okay, there's a problem. You
Yeah.
either gonna have to go to say come to Jesus meeting, okay? Which means that, excuse me, I think we have an issue.
Yeah.
Can is there any possible way I can talk to you? Now, if they just block you and don't want to talk to you at all, and that
That's
goes on
it.
for months, I can't.
Mm,
No,
yeah.
something has to change because now you're in a place where you're going to be miserable, and that's not fair. And I don't know what the causes are, but whatever it may be, you just need to know the truth of the situation so you can make a a conscious decision of how you want to lead your life.
Mm. Now, I had an associate that, her husband asked for a divorce. She said out of nowhere, but I believe there were signs that she just didn't see. But she said we never argued. But he had stopped communicating and they had stopped sleeping together and all that. But they didn't have that argument phase because she's, not a confrontative kind of person. So he would do things. She might be upset about it. She might, complain to her friends, but she never confronted him. So therefore, they never had an argument. They never had a discussion about the things that she was, unhappy about. And then suddenly he was just, I want a
Hmm.
divorce. I'm not happy. I'm seeing someone else. And she's, of course, devastated. But even in situations where there is no argument or confrontation or open hostility, aren't there signs when like you say, the intimacy is gone, the communication is gone, you're in the house, you're not really talking, you're just going about your day, your routine, your children and all of that, and your relationship is not there anymore, you're just kind of doing things out of habit.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
does a person know that this really is not a healthy relationship and it has just become, like you say, cohabitation?
yeah.
Especially if maybe
But
that's the kind of parents had, but they didn't, they think, okay, this is what marriage looks like. You live in the same house, you do things for your children, and at some point there's no intimacy anymore because you're married. I mean, if that's what they saw, then how do they know that that's not really the best representation of what a relationship should be?
well, they at some point in their mature self should realize that this doesn't feel right.
Mm,
It should, I mean, something has to give you some type of sign that something's wrong. Even though you might have grew up in a household like that, you may say, you know what, I don't want this for my children. I don't want to
mm,
go through this because I know this don't feel good. This doesn't feel well. So
mm,
you can either make the choice to continue the dysfunction of generational curses, or you can say, no, that's not for me. This doesn't seem like it's going to work. Now, some people actually come out of marriages and they go right back into another marriage, very similar to the one they came out of.
mm,
And we saw that, and that's that recycling. But again,
mm,
the red flags are always there. It is up to you to accept those red flags, because if you don't, then you're just living in it, you're existing, and you can't get angry at the other party because you have a choice in the matter. For example, I have a patient that her husband no longer wants to be married to her, so they still live in the same home. They're cohabitating. She has three children. The youngest is 11. The other two are teenagers. And she's like, she at one point it got so bad that she became very depressed and had a lot of anxiety. And she's like, well, I just need to leave. I need to leave, go to another family home, stay with them or whatever. And they've been together for 12 years. So she's like,
mm,
parts of her wants to leave and never look back, but then you got parts of her wants to still try. Help me try.
mm,
I want to try again. So she made an attempt to ask her husband, let's try again, let's communicate. And before she could get the words out of her mouth, he stopped her. He said, no, I don't want this.
He's
I don't want
done.
no part of it. So
Mm.
now she's left with the right. They're done. So here comes the guilt that she is impressed upon her. She feels guilty. That she feels that it's her fault that the family is breaking up. So now she's in extreme, feeling miserable. Um, and so what I helped her to realize something. Certain things come to an end. They're not always something that it's, some things just have a period, not a run on sentence.
Mm. Mhm.
That's why I call it. It just has a period. That means that's it. That's ended. And it's up to you to start another sentence, another life. So
Mhm.
since then, she's gotten stronger. She's understanding her value system. She's made a decision to, eventually leave. But again, the youngest child does not know. So I think that's
Mhm.
what she's trying to work through now. It's the two oldest knows, but not the youngest child, because he's 11 years old.
That's always, I
So
think, the hard
that's
part.
going to be hard.
Telling the children, telling
Hmm.
smaller children, younger children who, they're going to be devastated. But I think there's a way that a family with children can make it not so traumatizing, as long as the parent who leaves doesn't make the children feel like I'm divorcing you also, which means, there has to be some kind of co-parenting
Right.
so that children don't feel like they lost one parent because of the split. And sometimes, if people are so angry that they can't work things
Hmm.
out amicably, that's what ends up happening. They make it even worse for the children because it's like I want us all to hate this one who left me, so you have to take my side and be mad at him too, which is not helpful, because they don't need to feel like we got a divorce. You all got a divorce. We still have both our mother and our father. That's what they need to feel. But I don't know if couples know how to
Right.
make
Right.
feel
And
that.
that's how they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's how they're supposed to feel. They're supposed to feel that it's not a breakup, it's a separation. And I think because if you say, oh, me and your dad is breaking up, me and your mom is breaking up, or whatever, or getting divorced, they immediately feel that the family is destroyed. And
Right.
so I often tell parents, if they are going to separate from each other in some capacity, I said, sit your children down and let your children know that what sometimes mommies and daddies separate from each other so that they can keep a peaceful home. It's not that they don't love each other, it is that it's time for a seasonal change. So you will see us have two parenting homes. That doesn't mean you're not going to see me or your father. You will see all of us whenever you're in the home. You're in the home
Hmm.
with him or in the home with me or what. Let them know that the love doesn't disappear. Because I think
Right.
that's what and a lot of people don't do. They don't explain relationship or divorce breakdown, those
Yes.
things. They don't explain that. And they just allow children just to be the onlookers of it. But nobody's,
Hmm.
and that's what they asked. Nobody asked me. Nobody told me.
Ask me how I felt about it. Nobody asked my opinion. Yes.
Exactly. Well, they're
That's why.
right.
Yeah.
And it should be. They should ask, and the kids should tell. Hmm.
Yes. We've got a caller on the line. You like to take a call? Area code 708
Okay.
724. Your mic is open. Please introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your question for Dr. Debbie Green.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Vickers. How you doing, Naima?
Yes. Good morning, Brian.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just hanging in there. Okay, my question for the doctor is, why are people of color taught? I don't know if anybody's ever read this book, His Needs, Her Needs, and also the other book, The Five Love Languages.
I've heard that one. Yeah.
Okay. Why are
Mhm.
people taught to speak their significant other's love language? Why aren't a lot of our people taught how to meet the needs and how to submit themselves to their significant other or husband? I think if people would, I think if a lot of couples, if they, particularly married couples, were about the business of meeting the needs of their spouse outside the bedroom, then you would see a lot less marriages end in divorce. You might would see a lot less domestic abuse. You might be able to get the show more reportage off the air.
Yeah. I think the key word you said is taught, because people just assume that, oh, okay, I love this person, he loves me or she loves me, and we'll get married and live happily ever after. And they don't realize that being in a couple relationship requires some skills that need to be taught. And you usually are taught in your environment by what you learn. You learn what you live. But if the household where you grew up in was not the best example for a harmonious relationship, then you really don't know. And that's where I see a lot of the problems. People don't know. They have not had examples. They haven't had a conversation with anybody like a marriage counselor during their time of preparing to be married. They haven't talked about these things, like you mentioned, the love languages. They have no idea. And what they may have is a great sex life together. And they think on the strength of that, they can make everything else okay. And it doesn't work. So you're right. They don't know, and they don't have the skills because they weren't taught, because they don't know that you have to be taught in order to know. So Dr. Debbie, what are your thoughts on that?
And on the other, yeah, on the other end of that, Brian, is that again we have the inability as a human factors, right? The thing about it is we want to participate in somebody's love bonding. Okay. And you said outside the bedroom. So love bonding can be in many different ways, right? So I got to first understand how to be a helpmate. And really, according to, biblical context, a woman is supposed to be a helpmate and a man's supposed to be a foundation. Okay. Let's say we remove that for a second and we go back to being friends. Okay. So if I am your friend, I am concerned about your well being. I am concerned about your goals. I am also concerned about your future. So then it's not just the bedroom that we have this commonality. I'm concerned about your well being. What does that mean? That means that you have aspirations, you have dreams, you have a destiny, you have purpose. So if I'm not assisting you, and you also should be assisting me in balance. It can't be a topsy turvy balance, which means that let's sit down and have a mutual understanding of how we can assist each other and help and guide each other to fulfill, what make us truly content and happy. And I think if that relationship, bonding was created outside as well as internal, because you got some internal things that you have to do for yourself and that person as well. And the one thing is love unconditionally, what most people struggle with. We struggle with unconditional love because it's hard for us to put that in a text or put it in some type of action or behavior because we were not taught that as children. So if I'm actually sitting with you, sitting, which means mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, understanding where you're coming from, and we work together as a working unit, then those things that you're talking about can be accomplished, because it takes two to tango. But how can two walk together if they don't agree? So we have to agree in some type of mutual understanding. The love language is there to identify how you want to be accepted, and how you want to be nurtured, and how you want to feel belong. That's why it's there. And a lot of people don't even know their love language. They get it confused with giving and receiving, but it's way different than, because love language is actions and words and gestures. You know what I'm saying? To express what you feel about another human being, and also what you would want from that person as well. So again, we go back to the table on that one as well, so that we can have a good understanding. And communication is the key. If we can communicate, and we can set that great, in ourselves, just in ourselves. And it's not that, oh, I have to do so much for you before you feel that way, or you got to do so much for me. But why can't we do it for each other? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whatever I fell short, why can you pick up, and vice versa? I have a friend, I can tell you example. And this friend is in a relationship that the first marriage was really emotionally drooling, if I had to say it in a nice way. It
Mm.
was a lot of damage that was done by the first marriage. So now he is ready to go into another relationship. And I told him, I said, okay, you cannot look at the relationship similar or feel the same thing that you feel in other relationships. I said, well, how do I know if I healed? I said, well, you ask your, are you often questioning the person that's talking to you? Do you feel like they're trying to change you? Do you feel uncertain with them? All of those insecurities will let you know that you haven't healed from the first relationship.
Yes.
You
And
see what I'm
sometimes people
saying?
get into a
Because
relationship.
you don't feel secure. So you did right. You did not give them the opportunity, you know, before blindsiding them. Oh, what are you doing? Why are you, and you constantly questioning them? It's just allowing it to happen. And then if it's something that looks like it is not within your favor, then again, communicate and say, what do you mean by this? Open communication is everything. So I hope I answered that question for you.
Yeah. I
And
think
thank
he's
you
got
for
another question, but we gotta take a break. But Brian, I know you got another question, so I'll hold on. And then after the break, we'll get to your second question for Dr. Debbie. And if you're on our switchboard now and got a question, you need to press 1, because we only got another 26 minutes to go before we go. So we'll be right back after this last break. And we'll be right back, Brian, with your next question after this quick message. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show, as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution.
Hi, this is Sharon Alexander.
And I'm Naima Latif. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world.
Take care.
Watch us every day on the Media Connection at www.youtube.com/the Media TV.
YouTube it. We'll see you soon.
What happens when a group of people are kidnapped from their homes, smuggled away in chains, and held captive in a foreign land where they are tortured, raped, and forced to perform hard labor by the lash of a whip and under the constant threat of death. Slavery, the African American psychic trauma. What happened to the doctors, writers, scientists, builders, educators, and spiritual leaders from Africa's golden age? Who did they really capture and sell into slavery? Are all African Americans suffering from psychic trauma because of a conspiracy to hide their true identities? Do you have psychic trauma? Take the test on page 22 of the book and see. Order it online today at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. And get your personally autographed copy of the book, Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We are at the top of our hour. My name is Dr. Debbie Green, and my wonderful co-host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solution. Now, I don't know if Brian is still there to ask that question, or
Yes,
is there someone else
yes,
there
Brian,
before we
second
close
question
out?
you wanted to ask, Dr. Debbie?
Yes. Okay. With this too, there are some people, men and women, who have been hurt and who have been, I guess, say, psychologically damaged to where they, like you said before, they may not, they become bitter, they become numb to people or the opposite sex specifically. So it's kind of hard to warm up to someone, especially when you gave your all to a person and they, for lack of a better term, dumped on you or just up and walked out the relationship. Now, this too, on the female side, some have been hurt, bitter. Have been hurt, they're bitter. And so when they're presented with a book like The 5 Love Languages or His Needs, Her Needs, they look upon it as a good read, but they don't take it to where it's a tool to not only help you get to know yourself, but also to help you get to know your other half. Because the book, His Needs, Her Needs, becomes a questionnaires, tips, and things that couples are supposed to do together.
Mm-hmm.
And if the male relationship, he explains it the right way, she should be hopefully not just pick up on it, but be willing
to try some things.
Explore. Mm-hmm. Explore not only herself, but even her significant other. Why is it so hard to get people? Because a lot of our people, I guess mentally and emotionally, they're stagnant, meaning they're kind of stuck on same hurts, regrets from the past.
Yeah. Well,
why is it?
Yeah, people are stuck on the pain of the past and move forward, even if you give them a book.
But it's in balance.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, you say they're imbalanced.
Some people don't even know that imbalanced. Some people don't even know they're stuck, unfortunately, because they've been there so long. They have no self-awareness. And freedom in relationship has to come with freedom in the mind. So if I'm still thinking that, I'll never be happy, or if I'm in denial, or I have an issue, and I may have the issue, and from a broken or impaction from life, what I'm saying, because of some type of issue, trauma, or whatever the case may be, we often relive our trauma, in our adult life unknowingly, which affects our emotions, which affects our relationships automatically, because it changes the concept, but most of all, the thinking pattern of a human being. So they get into these rifts, if I can say that. They get into these cycles of unhealthy thinking, and they get comfortable in that unhealthy thinking because now they have created habit in the unhealthy thinking, and it becomes addiction, addicting habits of dysfunctions. So, guess what? Dysfunctional people attract dysfunctional people, whether they realize it or not. They do.
Mm.
Whatever's inside you, you're going to attract. And even if you attract someone that isn't dysfunctional, that person is going to notice you very quickly. And they're going to have to make a decision whether to stay in your life or to exit your life. You know what I'm saying? So it's either side of the coin. Either it's going to be dysfunctional or non dysfunctional. Again, some people, okay, we go back to that same thing. Compromise with dysfunction. Oh, I like them. Oh, we good, and we have the best sex, but we don't get along. We really don't get along. We have the only communication we have is in the bed, and they may stay in that relationship for a period of time. You see what I'm
I've
saying?
been there
And
myself. I know exactly how that is.
I see that a lot. I see that a whole lot.
okay,
Stay in a terrible relationship, but they have the physical intimacy, and that's the only place where they're in harmony. But everywhere else in their life is just total dysfunction, and they don't know that they should have other things that they're also in harmony with. So they stay
oh,
there
they
and
know.
stay
They
there.
just don't want to do it.
They just don't want to leave. And then if they do finally leave, they're so broken that like you were mentioning, Ryan, somebody who now they've got this wall up. They don't trust anybody. But it was they who stayed too long in a relationship that broke them, and now they can't trust anybody, so they think they can protect themselves from further hurt by never being emotionally attached to anybody again. And that's just where they choose to stay with the rest of their life. And who wants to chip away at a wall to try to get to know somebody? They have to choose to heal, and if they choose not to, then they can't be in a relationship. You can't do anything with that. They have to choose.
Yeah, yeah. And let me say this, please, candidly, if I can. Um, when you're in a relationship that that was emotionally drooling for you, whether the parties were wrong or right, it doesn't matter. I believe that 6 months to a year healing is you really need to refrain from being involved seriously with another person. Your being needs time to heal. You know what I'm saying? Mind, body, and soul. You need time to heal. And you say, well, why I can't heal with another person? Because you're interacting with another spiritual course. You got to
Yeah.
remember that. This is another energy that you're interacting with, whether you are intimate or not. It doesn't matter. You're still interacting with that person. Now, I'm talking about on a personal note. Now, of course, your associates, your acquaintances, those on different levels. And that's the area that you should be in. You should have healthy people around you, people who are, not so much all of them need to be in a relationship and you the green thumb. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen that before. All everybody else is coupled off, and this one person don't have nobody. No, you don't want to be around couples. You want to be around the like folk. You want to be around
These
people.
single
I'm not saying it's hard to be around them, but what I'm saying is you don't want to be the tag along all the time. You see what I'm saying? So you want to allow yourself to be a social person in social atmospheres. I advise, and guide people to go to things like art exhibits, events, um, some type of like places people gather, not just family orientated places, but things that people gather, doing different type of activities, so that you can just kind of be who you are in your moment and not look at, and no one has to expect you to behave a certain way,
Right, right. We got another
things like that,
yes. Thanks so much,
just
Brian.
be who you want to be.
Yes. We got another caller. Brian, if we got another question, we might be able to come back to you. But let me take the next caller, 872-731. Your mic is open. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Dr. Debbie Green.
Well, this is Rashid Ali calling from Chicago. My question is, when you're healing, are you now when you're healing, you are vulnerable. So, how do you, with a positive mind, select your environment if your environment has caused or created the traumatic experience? So, going to events, some people aren't able to do that because of the vulnerability. So, what do you suggest? Because I didn't hear it. If you did say something, I didn't hear it.
How do you?
Like if you're healing from I guess a bad relationship, but it's your environment that you've been around that actually was part of your traumatic experience, then how do you find a healthy environment in which you can heal? I mean, wouldn't you say you need to maybe find some new friends or find some new
Okay,
places?
first it has. Well, no, not necessarily. Not yet. See, the thing about it is, remember what we do, right? This is what we commonly do. We always go on the outside looking for something that's going to bring us peace of mind. Her peace of mind has to be established within herself first. She has to find out what her peace of mind is. What does that look like? What kind of actions are those? What kind of behaviors are those? Where's your pleasure again? You got to find out what brings you pleasure. If you have not had pleasure in a very long time, then that means you have not had peace or freedom. You see what I'm saying? So the goal is to find what brings you pleasure, not the atmosphere that you know that's taking your pleasure, that you say has taken your pleasure. Because if you become your external, remember, if that external is unhealthy, you're going to become unhealthy. If that external is full of pain, you're going to be in pain. If that external is of anger, fear, you're going to be in fear. So I need you to go inward. And then it may have to be a time where you have to think like a child. Like, what would make me happy right now? Let me create something within myself. Maybe I need to take up another hobby. A hobby as paint by numbers, a hobby as, going and doing pottery or doing something hand and eye coordinating with my hands, so I can figure out what it feels like just to be within myself, to be by myself. You see what I'm saying? And spend time with me. And before I can spend time with someone else, I got to figure out what it feels like to spend time with me. Because again, I have been interrupted by external factors. So I have to regain my identity. Who am I? I am not the thing that I see or not the thing that I hear. I am the thing that I want to be. You see what I'm saying? That's the first move. And then once you have feel that comfort zone, it will come with creativity. Like you said, well, I don't know what that is. Create. And someone gave you 3 crayons and a blank piece of paper when you were 5 years old, they didn't have to tell you what to do. You immediately, your hands hit that paper and it started to move around. You didn't care whether it was a circle or a square or up or down. You just did it. It's the same process. Move out of your way so you can become greater person that you are. It doesn't matter, again, what you've already experienced. What matters is what you feel about yourself today. Because one has to value oneself to identify what they need and what they want and what they desire. Because if I don't think I'm worth anything, then I'm not going to look for anything that's worthy of me. So let's start there. Affirmations. Let me give you affirmations. I want to give you affirmations. You need to go to YouTube, put in positive affirmation, listen to them every single day. From the time you wake up, listen to them. Find a time, as long as you can listen to them once a day. That's all I'm asking. and they need to be at least 10 minutes long so that it can block out a lot of this stuff that you've been seeing with your eyes and hearing with your ears. And let's get some healing in there. Let's get some healing in there. And those words are going to produce something inside of you. What you're going to realize, the more you listen, the more you're going to hear it repeat back to you. You'll wake up one morning and you're going to hear those affirmations. That's when you know that your brain is healing. That's when you know your spirit is listening. And you keep doing it. You don't stop doing it. And start recreating yourself. Recreating yourself. You are not the old Shakira. You are not the past. You are the present moment. Look at that as beautiful. Look at yourself as a beautiful rose. What is a rose? A rose is beautiful. It smells beautiful, but a rose has thorns. The thorns are just the stuff in your past, but that doesn't define you. That doesn't make you at this difficult point in your life. It just makes you know that you are feeling. It makes you feel that, okay, I'm going through this difficult time, but I'm still beautiful. I have seen all this hurt and pain, but I'm still beautiful.
Yes.
So treat yourself like you're beautiful, woman of God.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling.
And stay tuned to Dr. Dale because she got something for you. She got something for you.
Thank you for
that's a good approach for me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know about the artist
Yes,
affirmation.
it is.
Yes, the positive affirmations. Yes, the things is I am beautiful. I am.
Yes. What do you do?
The things that
just type in positive affirmation. Put it on your TV while you're washing your dishes. I don't care how you listen to it. Just listen to it every day. Anybody's listening. If you want to block out negative energy, repeat it over and over again, and you will feel so much better. Because positive thoughts come with positive feelings. Negative thoughts come with negative feelings.
Negative feelings. That's right. We create our reality every moment of every day with our own thoughts. So if you're depressed, that means you're thinking thoughts that make you feel bad. So you got to change your thoughts.
Correct.
I think Ryan had one more question that we can squeeze in. Go ahead. 708-724. Your mic is open. You have one more question for Dr. Davis?
Yes. Well, yes. I just wanted to say this to ask. Do you think? I mean, this is kind of like along the same subject because I saw the video yesterday on YouTube. Tyler Perry. Okay, forget how you may feel about that Medea part, but a lot of those movies like A Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Temptation, Meet the Browns, I mean, things that people can relate to. A Family That Prays, those are things that people can relate to. And Tyler Perry is a very man. And those, I mean, I think Tyler Perry could be a good mentor, not just first and foremost spiritually, but also too in terms of movies. Anybody who has a desire to do film and video. What are your thoughts? Okay, those are my thoughts. I'm just asking, like for example, specifically the movie Temptation.
Is that the one with Beyonce in it?
I think so. I haven't seen it yet. The Temptation, is that the one with Beyonce? Temptation, is that it?
What is it?
No.
Is that
no?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that one, but I was the
latest one, right?
Yeah, I guess it's the latest one I haven't seen yet. But all of his movies have a spiritual message underlying.
They have been out for a while. Temptation and A Family That Prays, they've been out for a while.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one too. And all of them have to do with conflict and relationships, issues we've talked about, honesty, trust, deception, and ultimately people making choices to be in a healthy relationship and to get out of an unhealthy one. That's what it comes down to.
I think he got another question. Hold on one second.
If
he has another. Okay, what was you getting ready to say, Brian?
Okay, the movie Temptation, when
I can't hear.
Lance Gross, when he finds out his wife has been cheating on him,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets a little pick me up from a friend of his. She says sometimes we are, and this does happen, meaning sometimes we get comfortable with a person, and which can go in every relationship, even with parents and children. You get comfortable with a person, and the child has begun to grow, and they want to venture out and explore things, and that's what causes the problem. Okay. Another thing, sometimes we're happy until somebody comes along and shows us something different.
So you're saying, is this why people
Okay.
leave relationships, or why they step out on somebody because they see something better or think it's better or something like that?
Exactly. That happens too. And really, the woman fell prey to a predator who infected her with the AIDS virus.
Yeah, I mean, those things happen too. You know, sometimes, like you're saying, you're looking for something outside yourself. You're looking for, whether it's a thrill or somebody who treats you better or whatever it is. And, rather than officially end the relationship you're in, you dip into something else, and then it ends up not being what you thought it was. So I think for that situation, everything is about honesty. If where you're at, if it's dead, go ahead, bury it and let it go, and then officially, honestly, and openly start a new relationship. But don't, dib and dab. Well, I'm holding on to this one until I see how that one works, because then that's dishonest. And if you're in that in between stage where you need to end something and you want to start something else, end the first thing first. That would be my suggestion for those situations. Don't string somebody along while you're trying to establish a new relationship, and you know that other one is really kind of dead.
I mean, because and for lack of a better term, what they're doing, stringing somebody along, they want to string the person along that they have at home, and to make sure that the next steps,
right,
that the next step,
correct,
so
right,
all that they got.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Brian. We appreciate that thought, because that's where a lot of people are in their relationships, holding on to like the spare tire just in case, this new thing doesn't work. I still got what I had. So what do you think about that, Dr. Debbie? Is that an unhealthy relationship? Is that an unhealthy thing to
of course it is. Yes, of course it is. It's very unhealthy. I mean, why should I say in a relationship that, and a lot of times, again, these people don't know that this is happening, okay? They don't know that there are other significant others are that have other people in their life, because that's what cheating is. Cheating is infidelity, okay? It's adulterous affairs that often result in, people being hurt, or some even losing their lives in some kind of capacities. But again, self-awareness is the best thing you could ever give yourself in any relationship. You have to be aware of yourself, and you got to also be aware of your emotions. You got to be emotionally available for yourself, so that you don't find yourself feeling something and then you ignoring it. When you ignore what you feel and it's really happening, you see what I'm saying? You're going to miss so much. You will stay in dysfunction, because then you become what they call emotionally invisible. And why? Who's not noticing you? You're not noticing yourself. So because you've been in this dysfunction so long, till it has become just a action for you. It's an addiction. It's a cycling that you don't even realize that's causing major havoc in your life. Again, most people are extremes. They do nothing until something starts to happen. When something starts to happen that's causing their activities of daily living to be broke down. Oh, Oh, now we got a problem, Houston? No, we've been had a problem.
We had a problem a
That
long
problem
time.
was festering for the longest. Yes, we've been had a problem a long time ago. No, I had adapted to dysfunction. That's what I did.
Mm.
I can't get angry with the other person because I stayed there in it.
Ah,
I stayed there in it. You see what I'm saying? So at some given point, I have to say to myself, okay, self, are you still going to just keep doing this over and over again? Because if I have self awareness, then that's when I would know. But if I don't have any self awareness, I don't know anything. Anyway, thank you so much
that's
for
it.
joining us. joining us. And I know relationships are deep, and I can say a relationship guru because I've been studying people for a long time. And
Mm.
actions speak louder than words. So if those actions are telling you that your relationship is over, please believe them. Don't believe
Mm.
the lip service. The lip service is going to get you in trouble. It's not going to, people tell you what you want to hear. But what do you see? Open up your eyes and allow your heart to speak to you in these matters so that you don't continually allow yourself to be hurt or
There
you
you
won't
go.
hurt anyone else.
That's it.
Thank you so much for being
So
with
much.
us. Thank you, YouTube. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Facebook. For those who are watching, please know that my other program, Rise, Reaching Inward for Spiritual Empowerment, is coming soon. On the 21st of this month, you shall see it. I'm going to be on Facebook Live and also YouTube. So tune in so that you can really receive a whole lot of knowledge that's just going to bless you. That's all it's going to do is help take you to the next level in your life. Thank you
All right.
again. And I want you to have a very prosperous day within yourself.
Get ready to rise. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Join us tomorrow for
Listen to our radio show.
join us tomorrow for
And be sure to
health
get
and
your
well-being
copy
with
of the
Viata
book,
right here on the
Female
Female Solution. And until that time,
On behalf of
continue
our
to
team of
shine your
radio
light.
hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family,